to Look Around the Confederation. We are your hosts, the Moose and the Candyman. And before we get started, please remember,
what's wrong with you?
Views and opinions expressed on this podcast are not necessarily the views and opinions of the SCV, its GEC, nor any division, brigade, camps, or any other subsidiaries. How's everybody doing?
Right.
How's everybody doing? We'll go ahead and bring Past Commander-in-Chief Chuck on. He wants to talk about.
Hey, Moose, what software is that? I've got another friend that does those movie clips with his face.
That is.
There's
the one you did for Mr. Bean, I'm not sure you use software. I thought you were just playing Mr. Bean. It was so good.
I have been told that, and to be honest, me and Matt were I was at Tennessee, and we filmed that. That was a live clip.
It's not true at all.
Makeup, everything.
So, but what is that software?
I use an app called Face Swap or Face ID.
Is it an iPhone app?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I probably doesn't have it for Android then.
They might.
I'll look though.
I just brought it on because the legend Paul Gremlin Jr. is in the chat. Good evening,
Paul.
Sir.
Hello, Paul.
I used it because it's taken a long time to make the new intro for Look Around than I expected. I'm still trying to find the new theme song.
I'm looking at that and I'm like, all right, he's finally got the graphics going, and I saw it and I was like, oh man.
No, that will be next week.
Well, I didn't mean to derail your opening. I just wanted to ask before I forget like I'm old.
No, that's fine. This show is not the Monday show. This show goes off the rails every 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty much completely off the rails.
But yeah, no, I'm finding the theme song music, so it's taking me a little bit longer. But I started doing those because we wanted this new intro because I got added to the show, and Matt asked me to make a new intro for me and him, and we both have gotten new nicknames since the start of the show. With me getting Moose, I was known as the producer, and Matt went by something else.
Just Matt.
It was just Matt, wasn't it? Yeah,
just Matt.
And since the revelation of him singing the Candyman song Around the Confederation,
I did not sing it. I gave a speech.
So I'm kind of responsible for the Candyman thing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you're really responsible for that. That is 100% your fault. I appreciate it though. I wear it like a badge of honor.
At least, your nickname didn't come from a 12 a.m. in the morning call from Connor.
Nobody knows where you got your name. Remember?
Exactly.
That's a running gag.
Well, y'all aren't old enough, but for people like me and Paul, when we were kids, our favorite morning show was a thing called Captain Kangaroo. And one of the big characters on there was Mr. Moose. It was a moose puppet who always told knock-knock jokes.
He might be too young, but I watched Captain Kangaroo.
Mr. Moose and Bunny Rabbit.
I also watched Bozo the Clown.
Hey, I talked to school. I saw him.
To this day, I'm scared to death of clowns.
Daniel asked what we can submit. So what we do here at Look Around the Confederation is we try to, first off, promote events, talk about SCV news, or Confederate news in general. So
you have to send it to our email.
Yeah, so what you're submitting is stuff like if your camp has an event, you can send pictures or a short, and we mean short, video, because sometimes we can't get the videos to work, and write-ups describing the event to scvyouthoutreach@gmail.com, and you'll see it scrolling at the bottom of the video, or every time we promote an episode, you'll see join us as we look around the Confederation. For your stories, please submit to blah, 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 our email. If you also have a camp or division project, you can also submit that to us, and we'll talk about bringing you on live like we have with Past Commander Chuck to talk about the event. And tonight we'll be talking about the Stephen D. Lee Institute. But first, I'm going to throw Matt under the bus. It's time for him to go over the news.
Dun, 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 the news. Dun, 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 the news. All right, let's
start making an intro for everything.
We need an intro for everything.
Telegraph thing for the news. There you go.
Anchorman.
Oh my gosh, I'm going to get a giant picture of Matt. We're just going, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Your news with the Candyman.
All right, news time. Who's up first? Gosh. This is a picture of stuff.
Yes, it is a great picture of stuff.
Please put the caption up there so I know what I'm talking
about. Looking for it. There it is.
All right. Lieutenant Francis Calvin Morgan Bogues Camp, 2150 of the Florida Division 15th Brigade will be at Everglades Seafood Festival Thursday, February 10th, Saturday, February 12th at Everglades City Hall. All right. Hey, that's pretty cool down in the Everglades. Y'all beware of skunk ape.
Yeah, and that is from our friend and great chat head, Mr. Sean. Again, we thank you. Mr. Sean is the commander of the 15th Brigade in Florida, if I'm not mistaken. And he always he always
and make sure to check his podcast out. Look Around Southwest Florida.
Yeah, and I mean, again, we love seeing shows like that pop up because we talked about this last week, using social media to reach people. We made the show for SCV members and non-SCV members so that they can learn what the SCV is about, learn what not these evil people that everybody tells us we are on the media, and show you what's really happening in these SCV camps and around the Confederation. So for our next bit of news. It's a coming. This is the
roll that.
Yeah. 1 second. This is the one. I told you it was going to take a minute. There it is.
All right. Okie dokie. Here you go. I gotta make my screen big so I can read this. All right, hold on. All right. So, the Captain John Rayburn Camp 452 of the Sons of Confederate Veterans proudly present an evening conversation with Lee. Portrayal of General Robert E. Lee by Mr. David Shoutouts.
Yep.
And Celebrated Freedom, a salute to Arlington, a musical dedication to the veterans and American heroes of the armed forces, Christian singer-songwriter Mr. Caleb Howard. The evenings of 20 May and 21st May 2022, the Jimmy Harris VFW Post 6837, 1441 Highway 431, Boaz, Alabama. Food and concession service will be available beginning at 5 p.m. with program beginning at 6:30 p.m. each evening. Join us for a wonderful evening of history, heritage, and honor to those who have served past, present, and future. I didn't get to read the admission, but hey, that's cool.
It'd be all right. We'll be posting that graphic. I'll post. Try to post the graphic afterwards. Ah, man, his phone's going off. How unprofessional.
What are you talking about?
But I'll be posting.
I can't help it. The warranty of my truck has run out that I drove 25 years ago.
It happens to me all the time. I'll be posting that picture and the next graph or a few other graphics in a minute. If you send us a graphic, we try to post it, just depending on what all we have going for us. And of course, if like, for example, it was hard for us to read that one. So we'll post it to make sure everybody gets the information. But on
it's
to
cool.
our
we don't
next
have to explain it.
Oh yeah, we do. We have to explain everything.
No, we don't need to explain it. Is that Skyrim? Is that what that says? The Battle of Skyrim Creek will be held on the 23rd to 25th of September. Where's that at?
That's all I got.
All right.
I'm guessing
we apologize. That's all we got.
The town of Skyrim.
Actually, that was sent in by the same people that posted the last event, so I'm guessing Alabama. That is an educated guess, people. This show is off to
the Moose.
The Moose. We are off to a great start.
Christian Lee. I was hoping somebody in the comments would get that comment.
I play Skyrim. All right, and now for our last bit of news for the evening. The Battle of Texas Hospital will be held on February 18th through the 20th in Quitman. It is a great event. I always love going. For more information, you can email them at battlefortexashospital@gmail.com or call 601-549-1969. So it's a great event. As I tell people all the time on the show, there's 2 reenactments that really got me into reenacting, and that I would say it's the Battle of Texas Hospital and Beauvoir, Fall Muster. Those are 2 ones that really hit it home that I wanted to start doing this more. My first reenactment was at the Battle of Texas Hospital. And then about 10 years later, I had my first new reenactment as a full-grown man. And that's when I started falling in love with it. It made me go to Fall Muster, and I really fell in love with it. So this is a great event. I mean, you'll love it. And plus, John Wayne's grandson will be there signing books and taking pictures. So, great event. I'll be posting that graphic after the show. If you can make it, try to make it. And of course, that goes to all these events, and you'll learn very soon. Sometimes events clash. They're on the same weekend or the same day. Just make what you can make. It's going to happen to a lot of us. So, if that's your thing, if you like reenactments, go to the Battle of Texas Hospital. Now, I believe our guest had an event he wanted to talk about real quick.
Yes. Have you got the link?
Yes, sir. And the link is being posted in the chat now.
Okay. Also, on February 19th, one of, if not the biggest event the Louisiana Division does, in Monroe and West Monroe, they have the Crew of Janus Mardi Gras Parade. And you talk about early events that you did. One of the first things I did in SCV back in like 95 was this parade. And it's a large one. It goes all towns of West Monroe and Monroe. I know Larry McClooney and some other guys from Mississippi have come. A lot of guys from Texas and Arkansas come too. You march through the streets, firing muskets, waving Confederate flags, and 150,000 people cheering for that. Okay, It's quite the experience. There are even places where when we stop and wave the flag, the crowd starts chanting CSA, CSA. One deal is in West Monroe are still the West Monroe Rebels, the high school there. And so you really get a big, nice. So if you're over on this side of the river and you're not reenacting and you're not coming to Stephen E. Lee, check out the Crew of Janus Mardi Gras Parade. They'll be happy to have you. You can bring your musket and fire it. You can bring a flag. They'll have stuff for people to ride that can't go the whole way. But check it out. And like I said, if you're doing a reenactment, I have not had a chance to go, but I've heard really good things about the Texas Hospital reenactment from friends of mine that have been to it. And of course, we got the thing at Beauvoir the same weekend, only because that was the only date they would give me that we could do it within anywhere close to the time frame. So, and I imagine there's events in Georgia and Florida and that they had me sent in. So, but here, just about everybody is on his register. We're talking about Stephen E. Letha. But if you want a good reenactment, go to Texas Hospital. If you want to do the really big parade, go do the Crew of Janus. If you're not, coming to see us down at Beauvoir, good thing about the SCV is we have all kind of events for whatever our members are interested in. You want to clean headstones? That's great. Amen. We need that. You want to do historical research? Do that. Do reenactments. Do the public booths. We need it all done. So I salute anybody that's putting on any of this stuff.
That's right.
Amen. And that's what we want to do here is show people that, no matter what event's going on, we have something for you. So, yeah, if you can support one of these events, please do. Someone asked me to put up one of the graphics again. Matthew, yes. I will post both the graphics after the show on our Facebook page. So if you're interested in one of these events, you can go to.
Hey, see that, Moose? See that? That's the guy we talked about last week, Mississippi kid that's doing the TikToks. You guys go over, check his page out, give him a like, and check out his TikTok, man. This guy's putting some great information out. He's defending the Confederacy. One of the best out there. Jonathan, man, I appreciate what you're doing, brother. Thanks for giving me the shout out the other night on TikTok. I appreciate it. I've found some new Confederate guys that we're going to feature on the show before long, but I appreciate it, brother. Keep up the good work out there.
That's Jonathan Phelps. That's who you're talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Victor Smith also hinted when the event on the 26th of February in Florida is the 120th anniversary and longest continuous celebration of George Washington's birthday in the country. So if you are very interested in George Washington like I am, or if you're near the Florida region, go support that. Again, this is all about what you can support and trying to support as many events as you can, because these SCV camps really pour their heart and soul into these events. So if you can support it.
And let me remind you, as a civics teacher, there's no such thing as President's Day. The federal holiday is still called George Washington's birthday. When they put up this President's Day stuff and try to put the ape man into it too, that ain't correct. It's George Washington's birthday.
Learn something new every day. Surprisingly, I didn't even know that. So thank you. Without further ado, is there anything anybody else wants to talk about before we continue?
Yeah. I have my weekly rant. I get my 5 minutes. All right. So this week, as many of you've seen, unless you've been living under a rock, there's a protest going on in Canada. I want to talk about that for a minute, because this week I have a special douche canoe of the week. It's Justin Trudeau. And if I was a Canadian, I wouldn't take your crap either. So I salute the truckers out there doing what you're doing. I hope you keep doing it. And I hope you come down to Washington, D.C. and do it down here, because our politicians need to see we ain't giving no crap, taking no crap from them either. So y'all keep it up. Look, you can follow these guys. I follow them all on TikTok. They're doing great things up there, fighting for their freedom, or protesting for their freedom. They're not fighting. And the government up there wants to call it an insurrection. I think that word's been thrown around a little too loosely lately. I'm pretty sure you guys have never, ever seen a real insurrection. I've never seen one in my lifetime. Chuck, you ever seen an insurrection in your lifetime?
Not on any large scale.
No. So it's not an insurrection when you stand up for your rights. That's all I'm saying. So the coveted douche canoe of the week goes to Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. You punk. All right, that's it. I'm done.
You just triggered me, Matt, Candyman. When you mentioned Trudeau up there, of course, his father was an idiot prime minister back before your time, too.
He's from a long line of idiots.
Was one of these busybody Eleanor Roosevelt types. But you just triggered me, because Trudeau's going out there and saying, well, these people are all racist because one of them had a Confederate flag.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, oh, come on. And then you've got guys who we may agree with on a lot of stuff, like Fox News people going, well, just because one guy had a Confederate flag doesn't mean they're all racist. Well, I got news for you, idiot. The one guy that had the Confederate flag probably ain't a racist either. He was probably realizing, like most of the world sees the Confederate flag as a symbol of resistance to tyranny and unfettered authority. That's what it stands for, and that's what most of the world uses it for. So like, oh, well, there was one bad apple. No, it wasn't a bad apple. If the guy was waving a Confederate flag as a way to protest big government, then more power to him.
Yeah. Hey, that's a good point. That's a good point. I'm glad we look. I mean, have you seen the flags over in Ukraine that some of the rebels over there are using? They look pretty similar to what ours did.
The old imperial order over there called the Order of St. Andrew, which, of course, is where the St. Andrew's cross comes from. And if you look at some of the old imperial jewelry, it suggests Nicholas Tsar Nicholas II belonged to the Order of St. Andrew, and there's a big red ruby with blue sapphires and the St. Andrew's cross on it, very similar to the battle flag. I mean, it looks like the battle flag without the stars, but it does go back to St. Andrew as well, and in the Orthodox religion. So that's how they got to be using that flag.
Yeah, well, when tyranny stands, it looks like that flag or that design always seems to come out against it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Do we want to hit a quick commercial break and then get into tonight's topic?
Yeah, I'm going to take off, guys. My mom came into town, so I really kind of want to spend some time with my mother. I don't get to see her that often, so I'm gonna break off and let you guys have it.
Before you
Chuck,
go,
thanks for coming on tonight. Yeah, I will. What's up, brother?
Before you go, I got the last video of the face swaps. Now, this is not a face swap video, but someone asked me to make a Candyman video, specifically using Willy Wonka. And I thought, since we're having the legendary
I hate you
Chuck
so
on,
much.
I can't do a face swap video of the Candyman when there's already a perfect Candyman video.
I hate you so much.
The Candyman can, because he mixes it with love. It makes the world taste good. Who can take a rainbow and wrap it in a sock, soak it in the sun, and make it groovy lemon pie? The Candyman. The Candyman can. The Candyman can because he mixes it with love and he makes the world taste good. The Candyman makes everything he bakes satisfying and delicious. Yeah. Now you can talk about your childhood wishes. You can even eat the dishes. The Candyman, because he mixes it with love and makes the world taste good. And makes the world taste good.
All right.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
How appropriate, because one of the things I want to talk about tonight is the oratory.
Hey, perfect. You want me to play an extra video so you can leave?
Yeah, I'll take off. I'll see you guys later, man. I appreciate everything. Thanks for coming on.
All right. Take a quick break.
There is a place nestled in the rolling farmland of southern Middle Tennessee. A home constructed in 1837, nearly lost to the ravages of war. Saved by a servant and a Confederate general. A place where families loved and lost. If walls could talk, what stories could be told? If a place, a home, can feel love, loss, pain, surely this is one of those places. Nearby is a more recent structure, and inside are the stories of heroes and heroines, stories of battles won and lost, stories of sacrifices made by the people of its native soil. A place that will tell the true and complete story of the Southland and the war fought for its freedom. From the causes that led to the conflict to the modern-day struggles to protect Southern history. Historic Elm Springs and the Confederate Museum at Elm Springs are the general headquarters for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. A place where the story of the Southland and its historic struggle is preserved and told. Come and discover your history.
Always loved that video, and to the people telling me happy birthday in the chat, thank you. I'm not old. I just turned 23, so thank you for that, Victor. Everybody's thinking that I'm 30 now, as Vinny would say. But let's see here. The Stephen D. Lee Institute's website has been pinned in the chat, so you can see that now. And it will be scrolling on the screen during our topic of conversation. So without further ado, I will let the legendary, the great, past Commander-in-Chief Chuck McMichael. I have to build you up, man. I got to build you up. It's like an entrance, and you're a rock star.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a rock star like Mick Jagger still. Look at the shape he's in.
He is looking rough, bless his heart.
Yeah, but he always did. That's the thing.
Yeah, bless his heart. Oh, but we got a great topic for you tonight, and I believe some topics.
I have several things for you, as long as you'll let me go on. First of all hail Hank.
All hail Hank.
There
oh my gosh, time out. I'll be right back. I'm going to let you take over things for a second. You can talk. I got a special guest on the show for Hank.
Okay. I don't know if Hank wants to see a special guest or not. What do you think, Hank? He wants to know if it's edible. If it's not edible, he's not real interested. Of course, if it's in a lid, oh well, we'll see what happens. Also, the famous John Wilkes Booth bobblehead right here for your viewing pleasure. There you go. Well, we'll see what's Moose up to. My gosh, I got it all to myself here. Make sure you get everybody to pay their dues in August. Go out and support events. Buy a brick for the Confederate Museum. Let's see what else I need to cover. Oh, I'll be talking later. Okay. Yes?
Okay. So I am Moose. I present to you Moose's Moose.
Oh, excellent. Stuffed critter accolades from Hank to Stuffed Moose. Does Stuffed Moose have a name?
We're working on it. We're gonna have to give him one.
Is it gonna be Mr. Moose?
We'll come up with something. He's got an earring just in case he gets lost.
If he's got an earring, Hank's not real sure about him.
Blame
okay.
GCB.
He's dealt with that kind before.
Blame GCB. He gave my poor Moose an earring. And funny enough, when I first started working as aide to camp, Connor gave me one of these.
Earrings?
No, it's a pin put on my jacket. So.
Oh, he just happens to wear it in his ear.
Yeah.
Well, you gave me an idea.
Oh gosh.
Maybe instead of wearing my past command, let me see, I got all kind of junk. Instead of wearing my past commander-in-chief's gewgaw around my neck, I could do it like an earring. Or how about this? This would really look like Star Trekky. I could wear it like a headband. How's that? Yes, Ipthor. We have received. All right. Nobody wants to see me act like this.
Commander. This is Look Around the Confederation. We all act like this. Commander, I will pay you.
I'm going to talk about my event I came to talk about now. You ready?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, Stephen D. Lee Institute, as we talked about last week, the meals, that's closed, but you can still register to come hear the speakers that day. That's on the Stephen D. Lee website. You see it scrolling down there. You'll go to this year's event, and it'll say register, and you can do it right there. And you have until the night of the 14th, because I know none of you have nothing to do on Valentine's Day. And you can do that and come down and see the, and then go down to where it says register. You have to go below where Stephen D. Lee is real big there. Keep going.
As far as letting me, never mind. Register.
It should be on there somewhere. Register now. I think it's further down. Yeah, there you go. So that's what the page looks like. So you can still do that. And if you're in a local area or whatever, you can come for the day by the 14th. I sent out a little while ago on Facebook, and it's going to be coming out on the Telegraph, and I think Frank's going to be putting it on there, what the schedule is. So if you're registered for the whole shebang, it all takes place at the Presidential Museum at Beauvoir. From 2 to 5 on Friday the 18th, I'll be there to check people in, because part of your registration is admittance to the grounds of the museum. So if you want to come Friday afternoon and go look at all that, I'll be there to check you in. I'll also be set up from 7 to 8, and then at 8 starts our reception for the people that have signed up for it. If you've paid for the banquet, you've paid for the reception. And then that's from like 8 till 9:30 or whatever. There'll be like hors d'oeuvres and really kind of a surprise dessert. My wife's taking care of that. Ooh. And then I think it was from 8 to 8:45 Saturday morning. We'll be doing check-in, and then we'll start kicking off with our speakers and all that. So that's being published out there right now, what the schedule is for people who have registered. Or if you're coming, whenever you're coming, you'll know what's going on. So there we are. I want to thank everybody that's helped out so far. Of course, you have past Commander-in-Chief Chris Sullivan, who did it for many years and has given me a lot of information on how to do it this year, and source materials that he's used in the past and how you arrange the stuff. Plus, he is going to be our speaker for the banquet portion this weekend. So thanks to Chris. And of course, thanks much to headquarters staff, to Adam, our executive director, and to Cindy White, who's taken care of all the registrations as they come in and has sent me all the information I needed for registration. Frank Powell, who takes care of the website for it. And of course, to the youth men on SCV chat for helping me promote it. And I'll mention Brian McClure, who's on the tech committee, who gets it put out on Facebook and all those things too. So there you go. I'll have more people, but that's the general crux of it. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have the head of Beauvoir is going to be the executive director on how they engage the public, and because that can kind of give us ideas on how we can do it at our museum or at festivals or events that we set up. We're going to have a presentation on technology going forward that's good or bad for us, some cultural stuff, and then in the afternoon is going to be a deep dive more into the Make Dixie Great Again and Confederate Legion, and then we'll have a panel discussion into the day, which is what is a standard thing if you've not been to a Stephen D. Lee before. So I would say I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually looking forward to it being over at this point. But it'll be a good time. It'll be like a little mini convention, but you don't have to vote or talk about money or politics. So there you go. But so that's the spiel for that. And like I said earlier, there's all these other events that are going on. I'm sure they'll be out there. And then I want to talk about the oratory, because I can announce this year's topic and a little bit about what it is. Some people don't know. They don't even know what the deal with Hank is. You may not know what the deal with Hank is, or how Hank came to be.
I do not. Connor just told me to say all hail Hank and respect Hank.
There you go. Well, was last year the first oratory you ever came to?
Yes, sir.
All right. I started oratory. I was a participant. I think it was in 1997. And I'm kind of like Jerry Clower in football. The first oratory I ever saw, I was in. I was a contestant. And me and James Turner were standing next to each other and complaining about, how horrible the judges were. So it's been a long, and then, and I participated in it, won it several times until the coup happened and I became the MC, and I ran it for many years. Ooh. And then when I became Commander-in-Chief, I said, I don't have time to do this. So James Turner did it for 2 years. And then after I was out of office, the next year, I started being a contestant again. And then I won it several times. And they said, no, this just isn't right. So they can't put a rule, and I can go over the rules later, that if you win 3 times in a row, you have to sit out for a while. Well, since then, that rule has been used. Chuck Rand and Charles LeRae are both 3-time winners. And so they both have had to sit out at some point.
I was told that was the Chuck Mack rule. Yes,
it is. That's on the official rules I can read to you later. In fact, one of our cardinal rules got broken last time. But rule number 4, audience members may not expose themselves. It's called the Brother Frank rule. Because one year we did a oratory T-shirt, and for our entertainment section, we had an oratory T-shirt modeling contest, in which Frank Powell decided he would win by raising the front of his shirt and exposing himself in a contest. So that's when we had to add that. But you saw the ugliness at the oratory last year where Frank did it and JC did it, and I think Candyman did it too. So we have a special punishment lined up for them this year at the oratory.
Ooh.
So this year, last year, our topic, we had a great oratory. We had like 8 contestants. And it was like the ultimate Southern meal. And of course, Carl won it with his opening joke about the bears and the food. I said to James Wright Turner right after he told that joke, I said, well, he's going to win. So it was the Southern meal. This year, the oratory is described the perfect Southern vacation.
Oh, gosh.
Yes, there's all kind of possibilities there. Where you're going to go, what time you're going to go, what you're going to do there, who you might want to see or take with you, mode of transportation. I mean, the possibilities are endless on this. And since it's going to be a vacation thing, we'll encourage everybody to wear their like Hawaiian shirts and things like that for the oratory this year. So, so they'll have the regular rules that we always put out. Can't be noticeably inebriated, and no throwing objects at the speaker. We had to put that in there because one year, one of the speakers made everybody so mad they started throwing their drinks and their popcorn and stuff at him and trying to run him off the stage. Yeah, he deserved it. He was a guy from North Carolina who had gone on the CBS Evening News and trashed the SCV for having racist in it, and then had the gall to enter the oratory contest. So he got run off the stage.
I will say I have been in the SCV for a decade, and I've heard, but I've never met anybody that's just, a racist. And I think some people join thinking that this whole organization is going to be like that, and they'll come out really quickly to figure out the majority of the SCV is not like that.
Oh, well, I mean, when at least the camps I've ever been, we start out with somebody's interested and we say, well, we are not this. And if you think we are, don't even bother. Like when we do recruiting booths and stuff. So I didn't mean to get off on that, but haters are going to hate and other people know the truth. But that's what he did. And what it really was about, that was running up to the coup. And he was one of the people on the coup side. So he was just trying to paint the other side as bad as possible.
Yeah.
And probably 90% of the SCV members couldn't even tell you who he was now. So I shall not deign to mention that scallywag's name. But the Hank deal, we had a member. Oh, somebody just texted me. Oh, did I say something wrong? Am I in trouble with Larry?
That was perfect, though. You legit picked Hank up, and like Hank had his own theme song. Boom. Okay,
this is Chris Sullivan. Obviously, he's not watching because I said what time the reception was. It's at 8:00. In case he's not watching, I'll text him back later. So there you go. We had a member in Louisiana, a guy named David Webb, who showed up at a convention one year with a baby possum, a real one. It was his pet. He named it Hank. And people would ask him, well, why did you name him Hank? He goes, well, I didn't. He said, I just stood in the woods and yelled, Hank, Hank, and this is who ran out. So Hank, I think Paul was the ATM commander then. So he made Hank the official mascot of the ATM. And so he was back for another year. He'd grown big, and he was great when we would do events. The kids loved to see the possum, and he was a real, as David Webb used to say, a real people possum. But like possums do, he passed away. So the next year at the oratory that I was the MC of, this was after the coup, I had this Hank. And I explained that since Hank had gone to the great beyond, we would now have the Hank impersonator, like you have an Elvis impersonator. So this is like the equivalent of the Elvis impersonator. Of course, that means the real Hank is alive and working at the Burger King. So just like Elvis. So that's how Hank came to be, and that's how it came. All hail Hank at the Oratory. And there's lots of rules about Hanks and things like that. So there you go. So the Oratories, like I said, last year was great. Hey, Victor Smith. I don't think we had anybody from Florida in it last year. Or Sean McFall. There you go. Who did Mississippi last year?
Connor
did, yeah. Connor thinks that maybe someday he'll be maybe willing to take it over when James and I are too feeble. So there you go. And then Carl Jones did Alabama. Charles LeRae did Louisiana. Who did Tennessee?
Ooh. I remember, but I don't.
Speaking of, one of our former contestants from Tennessee who used to do a great job before he got ill, I would like to pay my respects to James Forbes, who passed away this week. While we're on here, he was a real. Did you ever meet him?
No.
Okay, well, he was a great guy in Tennessee, and he was a really good oratory contestant. And then he had a bout with cancer, which he recovered from. And so, but then he's passed away again lately this week. So if I'm talking oratory, I certainly want to do let everybody know to keep his family and all his friends in their prayers and his, they move forward with this loss. So not meaning to be a downer. And let's see, from North Carolina, we had Kenny Ramsey.
Yeah.
We used to have a guy, Gene Hubbard from South. Anyway, so y'all need to be working with your divisions on who is going to be your representative this year. Divisions used to do their own oratory, and then the winner of that would be the participant at the national level. So if the division wants to do that, that'd be a lot of fun if they had time to do it. So that's the topic this year. Start getting your speakers and your topics together and all that sort of thing. Okay.
It's official.
Do what?
Mississippi's oratory member, our contestant, is going to be their division commander.
Okay. Well, that's up to y'all to fight that out. Okay. Now, when you did the break earlier, was that an actual Pop-Tart break?
No, sir. No, sir. That was an actual Pop-Tart break.
Okay. Well, if we're not going to have one, I do want to explain why you do a Pop-Tart break.
Okay. Yes, sir.
People may not understand why you're on here all the time with Pop-Tarts. What does that got to do with Southern history and Southern heritage? Well, I'm going to tell you. It's deeply ingrained into the Southern DNA and the Southern mindset to eat a Pop-Tart. And the reason is because it's a way to pay homage and honor to our Confederate ancestors who, what did they have to live off of that was not really edible, but they lived off of it for a long time? What was it?
Pop-Tarts.
Hardtack. Put up the picture I sent you. On the left is a piece of hardtack. On the right is an unfrosted Pop-Tart. Is this a coincidence? I think not. I think we like Pop-Tarts because it beckons back to the days where our ancestors survived only on Pop-Tarts. On hardtack. Of course, we've become more civilized now and have, put icing on our Pop-Tarts. So that's why the Pop-Tart break is really important, because it pays homage to the hardtack that our ancestors ate.
Now, did you get this from Harold Philpotts Jr.? Because he's the one that originally, during the show, if y'all don't know this, we had him on as a guest. And he couldn't set up the computer, and then he finally gets everything ready. And he sends me a text. Oh, no, he called me. And he said, I can't be on. And I asked why. It's 7:35. It's time for a Pop-Tart break.
Yeah.
So did you?
But that's why it was a Pop-Tart break. It wasn't a fudge brownie break. It wasn't a Little Debbie break. It was a Pop-Tart break. Oh, here's another thing that'll blow your mind. The Post Toasty was actually the original, and the Pop-Tart got the recipe, jumped the gun, and ripped them off. Yeah. That's like somebody telling you that treat came before spam. You probably don't even know what treat is, do you?
I don't know what treat is, but I do know what spam is.
When my son was about 11 or 12, we were in the grocery store, and I said, look at this. He goes, what is that? Says it's treat. He goes, what is that? He says, well, that's this company's version of spam. And he's like 11. He goes, you mean somebody actually wants to rip off spam? Of course, I like spam, so whatever.
I used to eat spam.
Look for it next time in the grocery store. It's called treat. It's the copy of spam, of all things.
Yeah, right. I'm with them. Who copies spam?
I see we're moving along here. We may have used up the whole hour. Another main thing I want to hit on is I want to talk about we're coming into reunion season this year. Now, we've talked about the importance of events. You know, when a camp goes out and puts on an event, they put a lot of work into that. And it's kind of our responsibility to support them. If you're in a camp in a nearby town, go over and help them out. All get together and do a parade. It's not just one camp. SCV is the SCV. You know, if I know we do that here. I'm sure they do it in other states too. If some camp's doing a parade in their town or in their area, we all go down there and pitch in and march with them and carry our rifles and flags. It's, you know, we all got to work together here. We got to be a force multiplier. Well, it's another thing. Your division conventions are coming up. If you can, go for several reasons. One, it gives you a say-so in what your division's doing. You find out what they're doing for one thing. You could be on hearing the thinking of discussion and debate on what they're doing and why they're doing it. Also, it gives you a chance to know your compatriots. You know, my best friends I have in life are people who I've met through the SCV. You know, if all of a sudden there was no SCV, they'd still be the same people I would hang out with. And so it's a great bonding thing to know people from around your state. I joke sometimes, you know, I've been around so long and so far, I could break down anywhere in the South and I would know somebody to call that could come help me, you know, because of all the conventions and all the SCV stuff. We're out there. And honestly, it is a network. If you get in trouble somewhere, you got people in a local camp that can help you out. I know a friend of mine broke down in town and a guy said, yeah, come spend the night while they're working on your car. So division conventions are great for networking, knowing your brotherhood. The national convention, even more of that. If you've not experienced being in a room with 600 other SCV members, you've missed something. It's nice to know you're not alone, that there are hundreds, actually there's thousands, or if not hundreds of thousands of sympathizers, but all these people that think like you do. And you need to connect with them. It's just like going to church. You become part of the body. You're part of the community. If you go to your reunions, your division, or your national reunion, or even your camp meetings, you're becoming a part of a body, of a community. And you can draw strength from that, and you can give strength to others through that. It's a brotherhood. I mean, the SCV is a brotherhood. Sometimes we fight like brothers do. But I mean, and another great thing, I'll take you for an example, Harrison. Like I said earlier, I'm old enough to be your grandfather. But do we treat each other like we would grandfather and grandson? No, we're just compatriots. And that's great. Because then someday when I'm old and dead and gone, I'll have you saying, oh, I remember that guy. He was okay.
Nah, I wouldn't. I would. You remember how I built you up before you came on the show?
Well, that's because I was listening. So I want to take this moment while it's still time to start, because I think in March is when some of the division conventions start.
Yeah.
So make plans to go to your division conventions and the national convention. It's going to be a really good one in Georgia this year. A lot of really cool stuff to see in that area. If you've never seen Kennesaw Mountain and all that stuff, it's way worth going to. And they have the general locally there for the train, you know, the Confederate train and all that stuff. So, you know, I'm encouraging people. I've even gone to other state conventions when I've had a chance. I enjoy that as well too. So, you know, get out there and do it. And you'll be richer for it. You'll get more of a thing about, more out of the SCV. It's like, whatever you put into is what you get out. Well, you'll get tenfold out of it by making that bond with other like-minded Confederates all across the country. And that's the number one thing to me that sells it, plus knowing and being involved in what your organization's doing. So,
yeah.
So was this last national one your first national?
Oh, no, sir. I've been to a couple nationals, but I was always, I tell people all the time, I celebrated my 10th year anniversary in the SCV last October. But for the majority of that time, I was just a camp member. I supported everything my camp did. I would try to go to every event my camp did, but I didn't really get involved on any other level. It wasn't, and my father was. I'm pretty sure he was going to the Mississippi reunions and national, but other than the fact that I was young, considering I'm young now, imagine me 10 years ago. But it was about 2 years ago when people started telling me to go check out this Connor guy. That he was about your same age, and he's doing a lot of great things in the SCV. And, I knew nothing about Connor other than the fact that we both loved the SCV and we both loved our Confederate ancestry. And I knew Connor was doing a lot of things to protect it, a lot more than I was doing. So I felt a calling to go to that. I talked to Connor. And then that was I call it the first Mississippi Division reunion I paid attention to. And I went out and tried to actually talk to people because normally me and my father can easily just sneak in the back, listen, and sneak out and leave. And so, that was the first time I went out and started talking to people. And then that reunion, I actually started going out and talking to people. But I believe this was my my third or fourth national reunion. I believe it was my third. So this upcoming year will be my fourth, and I'm looking forward to it because over the past 2 years, I've met some great people. And I have a stronger brotherhood and connection to the SCV for it. And so I will highly recommend going to your division and national reunion, along with any other reunions you feel like you can attend.
Well, also the annual pilgrimage was May 7th at Elm Springs also is another good place to go and get to enjoy the grounds and meet with like-minded people. I was there last year and we really had a nice time. And, the reinterment, and there'll be also coming up the dedication of the statue and just all kinds of cool stuff you can go and do. And not everybody can do everything, but, that's why you need to think ahead and kind of set your calendar and your budgeting and that sort of thing.
Oh, yes, sir. And when you start going to these events, the more you go to and the more you reach and talk to people, the more you enjoy them. I remember after talking to everybody at, over the division and national and through SCV chat, I really loved the national reunion last year. I had a great time. I enjoyed myself very, very much. And, I tell Dad all the time, I was like, crap, that was my favorite one I've been to. And was I running around like a chicken with his head cut off? Absolutely. I was doing a lot more than I ever had done before, but I was having such a great time doing it. And then, as you said, the pilgrimage, it gives you another chance to see these people you might not see until the next national reunion. And so it's a great time to visit, honor our ancestors, and, make them proud and maybe reach somebody that's never thought about the SCV before.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on and letting me pitch and pontificate.
Well, yes, sir. It's always good to have you on. You always make me and Matt laugh, and you always bring a good topic, and we're always happy to have you on. Seeing if there's anything else, but I guess without further ado, we'll sign off. Again, thank you everybody for watching. Please share the video. We're talking about all these great events. We're talking about all these things, the news around the Confederation. We need to share it out and get to people. So please share the video. I'll be sharing it. So go ahead and share the video now. I will see you guys Monday for SCV chat at 7 p.m. Confederate Standard Time. Same Confederate channel, same Confederate time.
Holy Dixie, Confederate man. You get that?
I'll tell you a story when we get behind the scenes. You'll laugh. I didn't laugh because I got it, because I laughed at something else that reminded me of. But yes, Stephen D. Lee Institute next weekend. I cannot believe it's already here. Wow, that time flew by. I remember waiting on that forever. But without further ado, Matthew, they'll be posted on the SCV Facebook page after the broadcast ends. I'll be getting them ready as soon as I end it here. But without further ado, stay Southern, my friends, and remember, no fumar in the elevator.